Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. With me today, we're going to talk about depression. And we're going to talk about how depression impacts us all and the impact and the way that affects us on our performance and what we can do about it. So before we get into it, tell us where we can find you.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Ardeshir Mehran here. And if you do a search, the hashtag Ardeshir Mehran, one word, brings you to my website. And everything that I share with you today is right there. My book, a lot of posts, and YouTube is right there.
So when one of the things about this podcast is I'm always looking for interesting people. People that can share things with the audience. And I was really fascinated about this subject about depression, which is something that you talk about. And the fact that it's kind of one of those things that we don't talk about it because lots of people have it. And really, I wanted to get you on so we could have an open conversation and really share so everybody can learn. Yeah. So why don't you give us and talk us about your journey and the impact of the depression and the way that you see depression impacting people today?
Great, thank you. Yes, great question. Let me share first a couple of things that I was looking at the list of people attending this call. First of all, thank you. The wonderful group of colleagues attending. What I share with you, please don't make any changes to your treatment plan. If you're in treatment, you're taking medication, this information is really meant for you to see broader view, broader perspective about depression, and to know actually depression can be healed. Depression can be resolved rather quickly. Really, there's no need for open-ended months and years of therapy. Number one. Number two, what I will share, it may come across as opinion, actually is based upon 30 years of research, analysis, clinical work, meta-analysis. Really, I analyzed it to death. So what I'm bringing is really netting it for you. And if this resonates, you want to know more, reach out. We can talk data and evidence. So I'm a psychologist. I went to Columbia University, triple major clinical training in Bellevue Psychiatric Hospital. And the very first job that I had, I was recruited while I was in graduate school to work in a corporate environment in New York City. And with the leadership development program, succession planning. And I was doing group of us psychological testing for leader rising stars. I was in my 20s. And this is the first time I saw some of the best people who come from some of the best university, gold Rolexes, Cartier, they look great, they smell great. That the elevated level of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, obsessive compulsive ADHD, and suicidal thoughts. And I got to know them. From the outside, they looked rock solid. They looked great. And there was a private struggle they had. And I spoke with a number of them, and they said, I don't want to go see a psychologist. They will just mess me up. Can I talk with you? And that was a time I learned that there's a private reality of senior people, of high achievers, that they learn to tolerate, to live with that. And that was destroying them. How did it destroy them? Through their body. Most of them had physical pain. In women, it was gastrointestinal. There's a reason for that. This is a center of safety. For men, were cardiovascular. They would show me in their briefcase and then purses so much medications. These are people in 30s. What I didn't know, that was my own story. A psychologist who I could not heal myself. I came from a difficult family background, mom and dad, trauma in my family. And I basically learned how to crush it. I was very successful in corporate environment, but deep down, I was flat. I couldn't feel anything. And I went to 7 psychologists over the years, a psychiatrist, medication. I was a good patient. And that's when I learned that there's a reality to depression that actually we clinicians don't get. We see it as affliction, as an illness. that actually depression is an expression, that there's a story to depression. And if you know it, you can literally reverse engineering to health. And that's my message for you today.
So what you're saying is that the depression is a so just like when we get the flu, we sneeze, and we cough, and depression is kind of as a symptom to really the cause.
That's right. The way that you go to a psychologist, and if you go on, if you by your laptop, by your computer, if you do web search, PHQ-9 is a assessment that psychologists, psychiatrists, they use to assess diagnosis, symptom of depression. Those are symptoms, but that's not what depression is. You need to understand what depression actually is. Depression is a consequence, is not a cause. So the question is, what is the cause? Let me give you an analogy. You go to annual medical exam, and the doctor says, "Hey, Ardeshir, we looked at your blood test, your habits. You need to have more iron. You need to get your B12. You need to have more calcium. Eat your veggies, and so on." Basically, a series of ingredients for you to be healthy. Depression is a signal of emotional deficiency. There are emotional dimensions to your life that they are either ignored, violated, and not fulfilled. Those dimensions, there are 7 of them. They're very predictable. Depression is data. Depression has a pattern. Once you know it, you can literally pinpoint it. And instead of open-ended, year after year suffering, dealing with depression, you can actually say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. So you can go from depressive thoughts, going from depression to depressive thoughts. We all have depressive thoughts. Hey, our world is messed up. So many things. Depressive thoughts is normal. But when it becomes depression, it metastasizes, that we can turn it around. That really is that elemental. Another perspective, opposite of depression, it's not happiness, it's fulfillment. So when you have emotional deficiency fulfilled, you become fulfilled. That's the goal of healing. And that's what I want to share with you, that once you know that actually healing depression, once you know it, actually you don't need a psychologist. So in these days, people who come to me, in matter of 5, maybe 10, maximum 15 sessions, you're good to go. You open-ended therapy, not needed. And you can self-heal and self-manage yourself back to fulfillment.
So you have a book out, which is about the title of it is you're not depressed, you're unfinished. What do you mean by that? Why is it that we're unfinished?
That's right. So depression, once you put aside that psychological testing, depression at its core is sense of heaviness, is sense of dormant longing for something you don't even know what it is. I have a beautiful quote. I don't know, we don't know the source of it, but the quote is that depression is a feeling like you've lost something, but you have no clue when or where you last had it. Then one day you realize that what you lost is yourself. People who feel depressed, there's a sense of loss, the sense of I'm not well, I'm fragmented. And you keep waiting, hoping, and there's a sorrow inside. Depression is a sense of grieving. Depression is a sense of grieving. And what we don't know, what am I grieving about? So unfinishedness, people who are depressed, they just feel I'm not done yet, I'm waiting. So what my work shows, that once you know what your emotional structure is, you can focus on the things that you're missing in your life, and you literally will see your emotion shifts. And I've heard this from my clients over and over. People say that I wake up one day, I'm not depressed anymore, but I'm pissed. I don't want to waste time anymore. I'm in a relationship that is killing me, a job that is I shouldn't be there. what am I doing in this place? That depression, it's really a better way to say it. Depression is your wake-up call of you to you, saying, wake up and claim yourself. Let me do this shade that
shutting out the San Francisco sunshine.
Sunshine, exactly, and getting me distracted. I see all this shade, but depression is a wake-up call, and once you know it, you go from waiting to finishing the work that you have.
Because we've called this podcast "How Depression Can Fuel Edge Performance."
Yes.
So I mean, that is just such a provocative title.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's like we've got these two poles, a north and a south pole. How is it that you're bringing these things together?
That's wonderful. I love that question. So when I work with high achievers, the analogy that I use, that you are like a thoroughbred horse. I'm a rider. The thoroughbred horse is a different animal. Unlike any other horses, they know how to take off. They run. But high achievers are like a thoroughbred horse running on 3 legs when they're depressed. They don't realize they haven't reached their full potential. Depression is your signals to you, says, I know the person. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm waiting for that someday. So you think you're doing great. Actually, there's bigger person inside you that is crying to come out. Depression is your own signals, your own SOS, say, wake up and claim yourself. So once you do that, you will see yourself not only performing better, you love better. You have better relationships. Some of my clients, they make more money. You're kinder, you're nicer, you take better vacation. That suddenly you see the quality of your life where you are, and you're doing very well. There's more space, there's more you, there's more others showing up for you, and you feel better. And the better part, having done this work over and over, a lot of your aches and pains in your body, they gradually dissipate. Some of this work that I've done are with cancer survivors, with multiple sclerosis, about finding your body overall health again. So what this work does, basically help you becoming healthy at your core, so you can to live better.
So and not only are you going to be losing the depression, but there's other symptoms coming out, like the gastro, you may be having stomach problems. So that's where you're saying that you're losing some of the other things as well.
That's right. Absolutely. So what we know, this is important to know when we get to the emotional, right? So I talk about it. The reason we have all sort of body ailments, whatever we suppress here, we express here. Our body is the keeper of our struggles. So you see, it's part of this work, you realize, why is my gut churning all the time? Why am I keep having heart issues, the high blood pressure issues, back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain? All of those gradually dissipate when you become yourself. Part of this work also is dealing not only depression, this is important to know, and anxiety. Whenever there's depression, there's anxiety as well. So that's one of the reasons the current therapy of depression, they don't quite work, because you need to heal depression while you're healing anxiety. Anxiety resides in the body, in our nervous system. And that's getting the person back to optimal health, but healing depression while at the same time dealing with anxiety. And that's, you see how the body basically start to heal itself again.
So when we talked before, one of the things you said to me was that depression is a human experience.
That's right. It's been around us all the time. Depression is a common life experience. We go through a lot of things in life. We get smacked in the face a lot. We lose people. We lose jobs. We see ourselves in the mirror, say, what happened to that young, woman and man? Depressive thoughts, depressive experiences are normal. It's part of life. Mourning's part of life. Is when depression lingers and becomes a way of living, that's become clinical. The reason that happened, this is very important actually, there's a chain reaction when depression metastasizes. So when we go through anxiety, first we get anxious, then we get depressed. There's a structure to that. When we get anxious, it means there's a sense of threat, there's a sense of control, lack of predictability. We go to a body lockdown. We're literally trying to figure out what's going on in the world so we can heal it, we can respond to it, basically take care of ourselves. Something very important happens here when we get very anxious, and those clinical folks fight, flight, or freeze when you go to the freeze. When we become very anxious, we go to emotional lockdown and waiting. When that happens, we stop paying attention to relationships we have, to the jobs we have, to the environment around us, to the needs we have. So more they say that not now. I will get to it. We start to deny it. In our early development or relationships with parents, with boss, with community, at certain point, we lose ourselves because we waited to come out of anxiety, to find a better environment. That's how depression lingers. That when we go like this, we start basically being alive. So part of that allowing to body feel safe again, sense of protection, and you're starting to claim your emotional rights, the emotion that matter for you, and you becoming authentically owning who you are. That's how depression comes to life. Depressive thought becomes depression.
So how do we harness the pain of depression?
Wonderful. So I want to share with you. So if you read this book, this is the work that I didn't know I'll be doing that. So across 30 years working my 20s with those corporate leaders, when people tell their story of depression, said, I don't want to talk to psychologists, but I want to talk with you. And I start to listen to them, not doing therapy. So they are telling their stories to me in a very predictable structure. Men and women, different culture, different ethnicities. Language was different. Examples were different, but it was the same story. And I start to model this after 30 years, that we have 7 emotional needs. And I call them emotional rights, the Bill of Emotional Rights after the US Constitution. That these needs, parents don't give it to us, teachers, mayors, presidents, we are wired for them.
Right.
They start right at the birth and till last breath. These are yours. These are yours. And once you know them, you can claim them, you can live based upon those needs. So those needs are 7. Let me first name them. I belong. I am complete. I'm boundless. I matter. I make. I am. And I soar. So there's a structure and there's a story of a human in it. The very first one, the need I belong. That we all, human being, we are pack animals. We're tribal animals. We're born in this world. That the sense that I have a relationship, that somebody loves me, just as I am, with my goofiness, I'm handsome, I have this condition, that I'm loved. I don't have to fight for it. I may be a jerk, but still I'm loved. There's a sense of belonging to a tribe, to a family, to somebody. This is important data. In 2019, Harvard Business Review, the survey of the executive, that 50% of CEOs report loneliness. This is not lonely at the top. This is lonely as a lifestyle. That so many people are lonely and they are crushing it. They're so successful. When you're lonely, almost always you're depressed and you have many psychosomatic conditions as well. So I belong. Next one is I'm boundless. We in the Western world, at least, we don't know our bodies. Our body is a locomotive that moves our head around. In fact, the term mental illness or mental health scientifically is incorrect. There's nothing mental. We love our brain, but our emotions actually are not in our brain, it's in our bodies. So this is about integrity of the person. That what are you sensing? What are you knowing? That bringing you into a full experience. So these days when people do therapy with me, we are never sitting down. We are walking. People rolling on the ground. We go jog together. That we feel with our entire body. Emotions are stored at cellular levels throughout our body. So it's about really bringing your body into your daily life. Next one is I'm complete. Many people go through their lives burdened with shame and guilt and sense about our past. What we know from neurology, past actually doesn't exist. Life happens in this very moment. Our body, which stores emotions, it only lives in here and now. Brain follows the body. We psychologists for generations said that our body follows the brain. No, our brain follows the body. So part of the healing is about owning your body, your experience, that whatever you want to accomplish, you already have it right now. Next one is I matter. There are many people in this world that you're invisible. I worked in the corporate environment up to 2 years ago. I was a corporate executive. People enter the room, conference rooms. Nobody sees them. Nobody calls their name. Nobody asks their opinion. We do this with our own children, with our own neighbor. This is about you are at the table. There's sense of dignity, honor, and inclusion bestowed upon you, inviting and being invited to the discussion. Next one is I make. That Khalil Gibran has a beautiful quote, says that work is love made visible. Many people are in roles that they are basically paying the bill, but it's crushing them. Whatever you do, is this your thing? You're designed to create value, create meaning, to be in the state of flow. This is our natural state. If it's not yours, you're paying a price. Regardless of whether you're driving a Ferrari, house on the hill, and how much wealth you have, is this yours? Your role is to find when you're in flow and doing that. Next need, which is very fascinating one, is I am. Is about the melody of your voice. This is about Katy Perry singing the song I Roar. I play that with my clients, that show me your roar song, that many people, they speak all the time in their roles, but they are voiceless. It's the voice of your soul, your conviction, your belonging, and your love and expressions. Are you saying that? And men and women express this very differently, but about your voice coming out. And the last one is I soar. We all have a story. If you can see behind me, there's a statement by Maya Angelou that there's no greater agony than burying an untold story inside you. 8 billion people, 8 billion stories. What is your story? We go through basically autopilot of life, but your life is fulfilled when you know your story. Then you become the Rock of Gibraltar. It's about finding why you're here, what are you doing, and finding your backbone. That's how you find your power bringing forward. And when you go to my book, I hope you consider that in every chapter, I discuss what is each need, what is the science behind it, and I have examples of multiple individuals, just like folks on this call. And also for each chapter, I have a playlist, Spotify playlist of about a dozen songs that once you know these emotional rights, almost everybody, they speak in those emotional rights all around us every day. You realize that people are saying something, but now this time you get it. So there's so many songs expressing those emotional rights. And once you know that, Bruce Springsteen says that, Taylor Swift says that, it's actually suddenly you start to see the world in a very different multi-dimensional way.
Fantastic. So can I just, so it's I belong.
Yes.
I'm boundless.
Yes.
I'm complete.
Yes.
I matter.
Yep.
I make. I am. And I soar. And when you mean soar, you mean soar, not I'm soar.
Yes, soar like a bird.
Yes.
Soar. Exactly. Yes, you got it. Thank you. Those sevens. And this is important to know. People says, the client says, oh my gosh, 7 of them, I'm already busy. Where do I start? No, you start, you follow the energy. At each point in your life, there's a play between 2 or 3 of them. There's one right that it lifts you up, says, oh my gosh, that sounds exciting. I want more of that in life. I want more of that. I want to feel that. It just really elevates you. Then there's one right that brings you regret, sorrow. Says, that sucks. I miss that. I want that in my life. And usually there's one right that gives you the backbone, stability, predictability. So for me, for me is doing this work. That calls me. This work is new for the world. And so I'm staying focused, follow the energy, my life destiny to do that. The one that gives me a headache is that literally I'm building a new way of therapy. That once we know the science, we can be healed. We're designed for healing. Open-ended therapy is all science. That you can bring yourself. So, but writing, sharing, research, it gets exhausting. But I tell myself, Ardeshir, get over it. Others have done it. Do the work, man. And the one that gives me stability is my family, my wife, my son, my golden retriever, supportive friends, colleagues like you, Tim, that you want to use the energy, and your energy will always tell you the right thing to do that.
Fantastic. So I was I'm processing it, and so I was told once that there's two important days in your life. This is kind of the I saw point. There's two important days in your life. One is the day that you're born, and the other day is the day when you realize why you were born.
Yeah.
My father passed away back in November 2022, and that sent me on a journey in terms of I knew the reason why I'd been born, but there was I also wanted to find out more purpose. Yeah, so in terms of these, the I saw is certainly over the last 12 months. That's something that I've been really thinking about and investing in terms of why am I here, and what's the point. Right. And that's been for me, the last 12 months has been a fantastic journey looking at that.
That's
just
right.
To give you an example.
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful, we all have it, and it has nothing to do with promotion in the corporation and the roles we have. We all here because we are supposed to do something. There's only one Tim. There's only one Ardeshir. There's every person on this podcast. Once you know it, there's a sense of calm, at the same time, sense of, oh my gosh, I feel so overwhelmed with what I need to do. But that's the hero's journey. There's a contribution you need to make while you're on this earth. That is yours. Once you do that, life feels different. Coffee feels different. Laughter feels different. That you become an artist of a life, of a legacy. That's what I saw is.
Yeah, for me, it was about realizing what I have and the gifts I have, the strengths and the weaknesses I have. But how that's all going to, one of the things I want to do is create a legacy. And I'm doing that right now because I know that Yoko Ono says it's really strange hearing John Lennon's voice.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing here is I'm creating a legacy, you and me, because we're recording this, and ultimately it's going to go online. Supposedly it will be there forever.
That's right. That's beautiful. And the thing that you mentioned, the whole notion of I'm depressed, I want to bring it to depression. Depression, from a psychologist's perspective, is an illness. Depression is not new. It's been around us since the time that there's any inscription of mankind. Depression, and Greek philosophers knew that, is a wake-up call, is an invitation. Instead of healing it through medication, through long-term therapy, trying to alleviate the symptoms, there's a language. Depression is speaking to you. Instead of medicalize it, what is it telling me? And here's a part, it doesn't mean suddenly it becomes a bed of roses you figure out. Suddenly realize there are stuff you need to do. There are things you have ignored. There are choices you made. Actually, they didn't work for you. You need to own up, get up, and own your life. And it comes with this, oh gosh, this is hard. but that's life. That's life. But it's hard, but you will be you. You'll be Mike Tyson in the ring. And I tell people, everybody has a Mike Tyson and Serena Williams inside them. We ignore them. That's why we become depressed. Because the voices inside says, get up and move up and be you. And once you do that, use your depression and you'll be good.
Thank you so much for coming on today and talking about depression and how we can use it and get used to it and use it as to our competitive advantage.
That's right.
Where can people find you?
Do a search ardeshirmehran.com, and I'm on the web, on YouTube and LinkedIn a lot, and also on your advertisement for here. There are 2 resources. One of that Emotional Bill of Right. Download it. You see the PDF, what those 7 are, and also an article, a blog that I wrote about 3-4 weeks ago, is about why the current depression treatments are not working. And I say the science behind it in some ways. And
they're both in, just so people are watching this, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, they're both in the comments that I've put underneath this. They will also be in the show notes on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube after the live. Where also can we? You've got a book, haven't you? So tell us about your book.
Yeah. So this book is on Amazon, and just even read the reviews. You are not depressed. You are unfinished. When it came last May, it became an Amazon bestseller.
Fantastic.
People write me. I know it's been sold in England, through Europe, actually. I think all continents. Write it, tell me how you like it. And my invitation is that reducing depression and changing the equation of depression is an illness, and we need to manage it, contain it. No, use it. We all get depressed. It's a fuel. Use it to your advantage.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking about it. It's been excellent. Thank you.
And loved it.